Hello BookTube! This week on my 2023 library tour, I'll be focusing on my classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, drama collection. Today I'm going to be starting with the poetry. For years, my poetry was perpetually paltry, but after last year, that's no longer the case, thanks in no small part to my discovery of university presses and the sometimes wonderful, well, often wonderful poetry collections they release. So let's get going because I don't have much time. I'm in a bit of a time crunch today. So first up is the selected poetry of Robertson Jeffers. Robertson Jeffers has been one of my favorite poets. There are a number of his poems that I really enjoy, although I haven't really done as deep a dive into his work as I would like, and maybe something I will do in April. So I've had this collection twice. Once in the mid 2000s, and again just recently. I first encountered Robertson Jeffers in a poetry class. I was assigned a specific poet, and I got Robertson Jeffers, and I really enjoyed that poem, and I've enjoyed a lot of the poetry that I've read of him since. Next up is another reacquisition. This is a collected poems of Frank O'Hara. I first had this collection around the same time as I did the selected poems of Robertson Jeffers. And I really enjoyed this collection quite a bit, but I got rid of it. But I wanted it back, and I finally picked it back up last year. So I'm hoping to have a go at it in April as well. This is a really good one. This is the Louise Collects Poems 1962 to 2012. So shortly before she won the Nobel Prize in Literature. This is a wonderful collection, absolutely wonderful. Next is SOS Poems 1961 to 2013 by Mary Baraka. This is a fantastic collection as well. And I also have the collected poetry of Nikki Giovanni, 1968 to 1998. So I'm pretty sure there will be eventually a collection post 1998, but I don't know if it's out yet or if they're still going to be waiting for that one. But this is a wonderful collection, so I need to really revisit this one too. And then here's a collection that it's not really a collection. It's a long poem that I've had for years, and that's just Changing Light at Sendover by James Merrill. This is his long poetic work. I don't really think it counts as an epic. I read it once, and I really would like to revisit it, and I really would like to get the collected poems of Merrill at some point. And then another one I've had for ages is the Go-Go Boy Sonnets by Edmund Miller. This is a collection of sonnets about various male strippers in New York that Edmund Miller lusted after in the early 2000s. Really interesting collection. Another reacquisition is Omeros by Derek Walcott. This is a modern epic poem that recasts the Iliad onto St. Lucia, I think is the island. But this is really wonderful. I've read it twice, and it's really good. I also have the collected poems of Philip Larkin, which is quite good. And the poems of Elizabeth Bishop, although I really would like to have another go at these. My reading relationship with Elizabeth Bishop is quite unsettled. And I have a selected edition of Edward Phil's poems, Counting Myself Lucky. This collects poems from 1963 to 1992. Edward Field is one of those relatively minor poets whose works can be quite good. I have 2 collections by him. I used to have 3, and I kind of would like to get that 3rd one back. Next is The Dream of the Unified Field, Selected Poems 1974 to 1994 by Jory Graham. This is a really good collection. Would like to have more by Graham. And then the next is the oldest book, one of the oldest books in this collection, that is View with a Grain of Sand, Selected Poems by Wisława Szymborska. This is a wonderful collection, and Szymborska is one of my favorite poets. And I also picked up a few years ago a collected edition of her poems map, Collected and Last Poems, which is a wonderful collection as well. One of the first books I picked up when I started shopping with pals again. And then I have A Fire to Fire, New and Selected Poems by Mark Doughty. This is a really good collection. I would like to pick up more by Mark Doughty. And then another really fine collection is A Little More Written on the Human by Gillian Conley. I love this collection, although it did take me a bit to get into, but I really would like to pick up more of her work. And then I have Selected Poems of William Carlos Williams. This is a wonderful collection that is a reacquisition. I had this for that poetry class. It was one of the texts that we read. Next is a collection from Edward Field. This is Stars in My Eyes. This looks at, and the poems are based on Hollywood or inspired by Hollywood, and includes some stills from Hollywood films. And this is a wonderful collection. The other collection of Jory Graham's I have is Sea Change, which I didn't particularly get on with when I read it last year. And next I have 3 poems by, or 3 collections by Mark Wunderlich. I'm missing the first one. So this is his second collection, Voluntary Servitude, which is one of my favorite collections. I also have his 3rd book, The Earth Avails, and his most recent collection, or at least I think it is, God of Nothingness. And then I have all except for a chapbook by Evie Shockley. This is her first collection, A Half Red Sea, which is really good. And I also have The New Black, which is probably my favorite collection of hers. It is absolutely wonderful. And I have Semi-Automatic, her most recent collection, which is quite good as well. And then I have Time and Materials, Poems 1997 to 2005 by Robert Hass, which is quite good. Really enjoyed that collection. And now I'll be moving to my university presses, the Princeton batch. First up is Before Our Eyes, New and Selected Poems 1975 to 2017 by Eleanor Wilner, which is a quite good collection. And then my favorite, probably one of my favorite poets that I recently discovered is Austin Smith. This is his first collection, Almanac, which is quite good. I love his collection, Flyover Country. This is wonderful. And then I have all of the Princeton University Press poems by Troy Jolimar. This is At Lake Skagog, his first one. Syllabus of Errors, which is wonderful. I love this collection. And his most recent, The Earth Avails. Moving on, I also have Hosts and Guests by Nick Klug, which is a really good collection. I really have got. Ooh, we had a little tumble. I guess this might make it a bit easier. Oh no, maybe not. And this is First Nights by Niall Campbell, which is his American debut, and it's really good. He's had two British publications before this, or at least one. There, that might work. So, okay. So this is Scaffolding by Elena Rivera. This is really good. And then I have two by Fiona Z. Lorraine. This is Rain in Plural, which is really good. And The Ruined Elegance. And then I have Radioactive Starlings by Myron Hardy, which is quite good. The Two Yvonnes by Jessica Greenbaum. A Glossary of Chickens by Gary J. Whitehead. Stit by Dora Melick. Those last two or three might not have been all that successful. Then I have the two most recent ones. I Entered Without Words by Jody Gliding, which is bizarre and definitely not one of my favorites. And Please Make Me Pretty, I Don't Want to Die by Tawanda Mulalu, which is fairly good. And then moving on from Princeton University Press, I'll be going to the University of, well, not quite. These aren't quite as in order, but the next batch are from the University of Chicago Press. This is Troy Unincorporated by Francesca Abate, which is really good. It takes the story of Troilus and Cressida and translates it or moves it to a small town in the Midwest. And then the 4 poetry collections by Peter Campion. This is Other People, which is really good. The Lions, which is really good as well. I just picked up and recently read El Dorado, which I quite liked. Last week, I read all of Peter Campion. And then his most recent One Summer Evening at the Falls, which took me a few reads, but I really enjoy this collection now. And then I have 3 collections by Catherine W. Carter, which I think is everything by her. This is her first collection, The Memory of Gills, which is really good. I mean, all of Catherine W. Carter's work is amazing. Swamp Monster at Home, and all of these are from LSU. Larvae of the Nearest Stars, which is phenomenal. My favorite collection of hers. And then I have a few more from LSU. Prospects by Judith Hall. Which was okay. Bridled by Amy Ning, which took me a reread to really get into. Dear Vulcan, which is quite good. Claude Before Time, which I thought was a bit mixed. Stronger first half, a weaker second half. More Than This by David Kirby, which took me a Bell Redemption to get into, but it's rather good if some of the poems might lose steam partway through. Back to the University of Chicago Press and their affiliates. I thought there would be more Wolves by Sarah Ryan, which is from University of Alaska Press. This was fairly good. Need to have another go at it. And then I have Wonderama by Catherine Doughty, no relation to Mark Doughty. This was an okay collection. Lucky Wreck by Ada Limon. This is a phenomenal collection. One of my favorite collections is Tanto Tanto by Marina Carrera. This collection is amazing. I highly recommend it. This is wonderful. In fact, I think I'm going to move it over here so it's with the other Kevin Carey collection. And then I have two UK poetry collections. This is Tongues of Fire by Sean Hewitt, which is amazing. Just amazing. And the other collection by Niall Campbell. I think this is his most recent Noctuary, which I would like to get his first one because I used to think his first collection was basically what would be in the United States First Nights. But in actual fact, there's more to it than just the poems that are in First Nights. So I would like to pick it up. And then I also have collected poems by George Safaris, the Greek Nobel Prize laureate, which is in fairly rough condition. I would like to get to it at some point. Need to figure out actually how to make it work. Anyway, and then finally, The End of Everything by Matt Wall, who is a YouTuber, who's a poet and a pulp writer, and he sent me this collection, and it's quite good. There's just a few really good poems in that collection. So that was my poetry collection. Tomorrow I will start on the classics and some anthologies. That's what it looks like. So from here on out, so that I can do this, the classics, canonical, modern, contemporary fiction, poetry, drama in 1 week. I'll be doing 2 shelves tomorrow, and then a shelf in a bit Wednesday, and then 2 shelves on Thursday, and a shelf in some on Friday, with a bookend tower too, which is mostly just the Wheel of Time. But anyway, BookTube, I need to go ahead and sign off for now because I need to go get lunch ready. This video will be up a bit later than normal because I will be watching the 4 Children of the Apocalypse before I upload this. So be up a bit later. Well, I mean, it'll be up when it gets out for you, but anyway, and I will hopefully at that time also be doing my original tag, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, BookTube, I need to go ahead and sign up for now, and let me know how this angle looks, because if it works, I might do this for the some of the next videos, but if it doesn't, then I might switch out the ergonomics. So anyway, BookTube, until I see you next time, thank you, have a great afternoon and evening, and stay safe.